Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm back here today with another Sword and Shield video. This time I'm going to be talking about Galarian Darmanitan. This is not a live, rather I'm just going to be talking about why I consider Darmanitan, this new ice form, this ugly ass Pokemon, to be the best Pokemon that came with Sword and Shield. Definitely the best Pokemon in Sword and Shield OU right now to me. And what I think is just the best mon that the new game introduced. So yes, Darmanitan, as we can see, got a new Galarian form. He was so powerful back in the day with his fire type. They gave him an ice type and somehow made him even better. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can go from fire type to ice type and become even stronger, but somehow Game Freak did it. Originally, I was going to make this video about a couple of Pokemon which I considered to be the best ones that were introduced in Sword and Shield, like Dragapult and stuff like that. But I realized Darmanitan is such a cut above those Pokemon that I wanted to do a vid just based on this thing. Why I think it's so good. The sets you can run, basically just these two, Scarf and Band, which I consider the best, but I'll get more in depth on that. And yeah, I just want to talk about this thing, what it can do in the metagame, why I think it's so good, and you know, what I see the future of it being in Sword and Shield OU. Before we get into the vid, I gotta say that the Agency Champion Collection is still live. I want to thank everybody so much for the support. I sold 200 on the first day, which is just ridiculous to me. So many agents. But yes, we got hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts in various different colors. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. The link will be the first one in the description. Definitely go check that out. This is only available for the next 9 days. Limited drop Agency Champion capsule. So of course check that out. But let's get back to the video. So yes, Galarian Darmanitan. So when I first saw this Pokemon, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was ice and fire for the longest time at first, and then I was like, oh shit, it's just ice. But it doesn't really need that fire typing, and honestly, it's probably better off without it. So Darm kept the same stats that it had when it was just a regular Darmanitan. I guess we'll put the regular one next to it. See this one looking so honest, and then this thing with this like snowball on its head that just destroys the game. But yeah, they have the exact same stats, except that one has more special attack, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. Wait, no, they have the same special attack. Sorry. Anyways, Darm Galarian. So the big thing is the new ability, as we all know, Guerrilla Tactics. So boosts the Pokemon's attack stat, but only allows the use of the first selected move. So it's basically like a built-in choice band as an ability. You're locked into whatever move you pick, but you get a 1.5 times boost to that. And the biggest issue with this is that you're able to basically put an item on Darmanitan. It's like you get a free choice band, and you don't even have to do anything for it. It's just built in. So I think this is hilarious because you're able to put a choice band on Guerrilla Tactics and have like a +2. It's more than +2. +2 is double your attack stat. This choice band plus Guerrilla Tactics is actually multiplied by 2.25, so it's even a little stronger than going for like a Swords Dance or something like that, which is crazy because this is just off the rip, no need to set up. And its move pool is very, very good too. Icicle Crash, U-Turn, Flare Blitz, Earthquake. Icicle Crash is an amazing stab move. Ice is a really good typing offensively. I think we know that from every generation. U-Turn is a great move because it lets you get out of there in an unfavorable situation, and it hits very hard. I've seen people go to Rotom Wash and get 2-hit KO'd by U-Turn. That's just unholy, unspeakable. Flare Blitz rounds off really nicely because you're able to 1-hit KO Ferrothorn, hit Steel types, hit Corviknight super effectively, just stuff like that. It's crazy that it kept Flare Blitz too. I think that's hilarious. And then Earthquake is something you run basically just to hit opposing fire types. If you remember my live where I used Center Scorch and got bodied by Earthquake every single game, that's basically why I put it there. But I'm sure you can run stuff like Rock Slide if you really wanted to. But yeah, for the most part, let me just delete this. For the most part, I feel like the only two sets you really need to run are Scarf and Choice Band. I really don't see the point of running anything else like Life Orb or anything. I feel like you don't want to take the recoil, especially because if rocks are up, your Darm is already going to be taking 25% every time it comes in. Personally, I prefer Scarf to Choice Band even, just because while the double boost from Band and Guerrilla Tactics is like so menacing and like nothing can switch in. Seriously, nothing can switch in. I've seen people go to Toxapex on Banded Icicle Crash and take like 45%. And then if they get flinched the next turn, their Pex is dead. You don't even have to predict with Earthquake, which is hilarious. And even U-Turn hits everything so hard that it can keep momentum up, and it's just such a menace. But I do really like Scarf because Darmanitan sits at a pretty decent speed tier, 95, and with Scarf it's able to outspeed the majority of stuff, and it still hits very, very strong thanks to Guerrilla Tactics. Like I remember Icicle Crash, it was this guy switched his own Darmanitan into mine, and mine was Scarf, and I cleanly 2-hit KO'd it with Icicle Crash, even though it's resisted and Darm has pretty good HP. And I was like, damn, like this is really the shit. Like Darm is very, very strong. So I mean, I don't really gotta explain to you guys why this thing is so strong. I'm sure you guys, if you've played a single game of Gen 8 OU on the ladder, I'm sure you've been tossed by this before. I can't even count how many times I've been smashed by this. I feel like I've been beaten by Gyarados more, but I've definitely lost a shit ton to Darm, probably evenly with Gyarados, if not just a little bit less. But I guess we're going to go first through some of the Gen 8 overused Pokemon. So this is a preliminary overused viability list, and just see how Darm matches up versus a lot of these Pokemon. So Aegislash, this thing gets O-Code, Bishop gets O-Code, Clef can probably take 1 with like 1 HP. Conk can actually beat it 1v1 because of Mach Punch. The trio can trap it if it's not Scarf. But as you can see, the majority of these Pokemon that are used can't really take a hit from Darm. Even Scarf Darm is going to really put on the pressure. Like, you can put a defensive-ish mon like Gastrodon or Jellicent, and I bet both of them get hurt very badly by even a Scarf hit. Like, let's go for Jellicent, for example. I remember people saying, like, oh shit, you have to run Jellicent now, otherwise Darmanitan's going to fuck up your whole team. And I thought about it, and I'm like, dude, even if you have a Jellicent, I'm pretty sure you're not going to beat Darmanitan. So, let's go with this. Let's do Jellicent. Let's do defensive. Impish. Nature. Earthquake. That's +1 Galarian Darm Earthquake, just 28 to 34. I did +1 on here just because I wanted to make sure, because they don't have Gorilla Tactics in the ability yet. This is just a beta calc for Gen 8. But let's say you put a Choice Band then. Look at that, 43 to 50. So if rocks are up, you're max Jellicent, and this is max HP, max defense, no speed, no nothing else. This is truly fully physically defensive. Can get 2 KO'd with Stealth Rock up, right? That's insane to me. That is so insane to me, because that's not even a that's not even a choiced move. I mean, sorry, not a choice move. It's not even a stab move. It's just banded plus Gorilla Tactics, and it's not gonna miss. This isn't Hustle or anything. I think that's the funniest part of Gorilla Tactics. When we have other abilities such as Hustle, which give you that boost to your attack, but it comes with a price. You can miss your moves. Like, that's fine. This thing's price is that you just have to be locked into your move. And every single Darmanitan back in the day, in Gen, what, 7, 6, 5, I mean, it wasn't really used in Gen 7, but in Gen 5, when Darmanitan was used in, like, UU, and even its short stint in OU, they were always choiced. And so it's hilarious to see that they gave this mon an ability. Game Freak had to have known that all we used was choiced Darmanitan. So they were like, fuck it, we're gonna put a snowball on its head and make it the best Pokemon in the metagame. And it really is. So even a Pokemon like Max Jellicent is not able to take it. I'm just trying to think of other Pokemon like Toxapex, for example. If we go with a physically defensive Toxapex, you can see this Earthquake just 67 to 80. That's ridiculous. Is Choice Band being factored in here? It is, right? Yeah, it is. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how strong this thing can be. And I think one of the funniest things is Darmanitan, a lot of the time when you have to like check this Pokemon, like let's go to Gen 7 OU. Hold up. So let's look at some of my teams. A lot of the time when you want to check this thing, I feel like you have to just sack or hope you pick the right play. 99% of the time, Darmanitan needs either Choice Scarf or Choice Band, but most of the time you can't really switch into Banded Icicle Crash anyway. Like, look at this team, for example. Well, this team is actually kind of too Ice Weak, I'd say, but I don't know. What's like a not very Ice Weak team? Sure, let's go with this Komodo team, because I have a Pex, which is about as good as you can get, and yeah, it's about as good as you can get. But yeah, in general, Darmanitan's coverage is just very, very good. You're very hard-pressed to find Pokemon that can even switch into Icicle Crash, because all you have is really water types, and they'll still get hit by U-turn. Like, for example, look at Pex taking 18% from U-turn. You can U-turn out of there, bring in your own, whatever. Imagine you run like a Darmanitan, Toxtricity, Volt-turn Core, whatever the case. Honestly, I was even using Arcanine with Intimidate and shit. Look at this set. I mean, it's Spadef, but I was using this to take on Darmanitan. And if it goes for Earthquake on the switch, GG. Let's see how much Rotom Wash takes, for example. Rotom Wash. Let's go with a bold set. Look how much U-turn does, first of all. 40 to 48%. So it switches in and it takes half HP as you switch out. And say they stay in and go for, like, say they went for Icicle Crash, it's still doing like a similar amount, 37 to 43%. It's very, very strong. You might as well only come in on Earthquake, because that does 0%, because all the other moves are going to toss your shit. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I really love this Pokemon still. Like, I do think it's hilariously overpowered. Seriously, what is like 379 times 2.25? It's well over 800. It's probably like 830, 832, something like that. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like, nothing can really switch into this Pokemon. Like I said, I heard that Jellicent and Rotom Wash were like the premier switch-ins, and even that, like, they can't really switch it. Let's look at Corsola, because everyone's using that thing right now. I'm sure that thing can take a hit decently. Let's go with Bold. Let's go with Eviolite as well. Fuck it. So even this thing cannot withstand 2 Icicle Crashes at all. Easy to a KO. 97% chance to a KO. Smashed. And even Flare Blitz is like very close to 2-hit KOing. What the hell? So if it goes for either of these moves, you're screwed. Seriously, you can only come in on U-turn, which isn't even good, because then it switches out and scares you out and you're at a lesser amount of HP. This thing is a menace, man. Going through the list, you can see a lot of these Pokemon. The reason I like Scarf is because a lot of the offensive Pokemon can't take it either way. Like Gyarados, for example, that thing takes like 80% from Scarf Icicle Crash. And you're faster if they're +1 still, so that's great. Haxorus, Hawlucha, Gengar, all those guys, they're not living. You know, like, there's nothing to really worry about. Yeah, Pikamuko, I guess. Actually, Pikamuko is probably one of the few that can take a hit. Rotom Heat, I saw that. It's the same as Rotom Wash. It still gets blown up by Icicle Crash even if you're physically defensive. And then Pex if you don't Earthquake. By the way, I love the new Gen 8 sprites. These look great. And then when you compare it to the rest of the Pokemon from the 8th generation, I really don't think anything can compare. Like, you can compare it to something like Dracovish, which is very powerful, but you cannot put Dracovish on a team the same way you can put Darmanitan on a team. And I also believe that Darm is way more consistent than something like Dracovish. Dracovish has to keep going for Fish's Rend, and if you play something like a Seismitoad or whatever has Water Absorb with your Dracovish, you're probably not going to do that well with it, just because it literally only has to use its stab move. Darm also only has to use its stab move, but Icicle Crash is almost easier to spam than Fish's Rend sometimes. It's harder to counter, even though Dracovish can like kill everything. If they have a Water Absorb on or something, it's harder to beat, and it's also very slow. Like, Dracovish is always going to be slower than Dragapult, even with a Scarf. Meanwhile, Darm cleanly outspeeds and OHKOs that thing, so that's just some food for thought. Other than that, all these Pokemon get fucking smashed by Darm. They all died to Icicle Crash, so that's really it. 1v1, it's the king, I think. I think it's like the king of 1v1s. It always is putting in that work. Like I said, I've been using Scarf a lot more than Choice Band, just because I like the +1 speed, and a lot of the metagame is offensive right now, so that makes sense. That you want to have a little bit of extra speed just to take on like DD Gyarados, stuff like that, but you can well go for Bandit and just fuck up any balanced team. Something funny also that I didn't consider yet, but I have to talk about, is the fact that Dynamax is still here and Darm can Dynamax. And honestly, I think Darm is a really scary Dynamaxer. Well, its defenses are really shitty, like 55, 55. The HP is great, but the defenses suck. Once you Dynamax, this thing gets 700 HP, which is hilarious, obviously. Shout out Dynamax, man, my favorite. And it can switch up its moves. I think that's one of the hardest things to deal with, because Darmanitan is almost always choice, and Guerrilla Tactics locks you into the move. You think like, oh shit, okay, whatever. All I have to do is pivot correctly, and even if it kills a Mon, I just have to sack something, and then I can go to my next Mon and basically scare it out. So that's what I've had to do in a lot of games. I've sacked a Pokemon to Darmanitan's Icicle Crash or Flare Blitz, then the next Pokemon I send in, resist that move, can set up on it, whatever the case. But they can always just Dynamax and then kill me with Hailstorm, Max Flare, Max Flutterby, Max Quake, and I'm like, shit, now what? And it's bulky enough to take most non-super effective hits because it has 700 HP. And that thing still hits like a goddamn truck because it's Darm. I'm not saying Darm is one of the best Dynamaxers. In fact, it's definitely one of the worst Dynamaxers. Not worst, but it's worse than like stuff like Dragapult and shit like that, because Darm likes to make use of its choice item. But either way, you're able to switch up moves, which is really great for a Pokemon that's whole like style is based on not being able to, thanks to its ability. So Dynamax can also put that thing in like such a higher level of play. I remember it kills the higher level of play because it just changes its moves on you and you're like, oh shit, what can you do? You can go back to see my lives from the last week. I've had a lot of games where I sack to Darm, then it Dynamaxes up and I'm like, ah shit, Max Flare, my Steel type's dead. That's happened so many times, man. I sack to Icicle Crash, I bring in Aegislash, I'm like, okay, it's fine, I can get a kill here too. No, Dynamax, Max Flare, bitch, it's dead, gone. I was like, damn, it's like that, huh? But hey, that's just Darm. That's just Darm. I'm trying to think of if anything else can really counter this thing. Like, Pex is like the closest thing you can get, and Pexes aren't even full physically defensive, but I mean even this thing gets hit pretty hard. I mean you can see Icicle Crash is doing up to like 30, Earthquake blows that thing to bits. Yeah, it's tough. I run Jolly Band if I'm gonna run Band, but you can also run Scarf, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. What if it was +0? Yeah, I like this Pokemon though, man. I really love this Pokemon. I do think that this is the best Pokemon clearly in Gen 8, clearly. It's the best new Pokemon introduced, and in the metagame as a whole, I think it's the best as well. Like, even given all this new shit all the old shit that got buffed, like Gyarados and Dynamax and all that, nothing compares to Darm for me. I truly believe it's the best Pokemon. It's probably on par with Dynamax for how powerful it is for me, which maybe is an overstatement because I know Dynamax is like crazy, but Darm is really something else. Like, it's very, very difficult to deal with. I feel like you can never play a game where Darm gets 0 kills. If you play an opponent and Darm gets 0 kills, their Darm's probably modest with 0 attack EVs, or their computer's broken and they're not able to click it or something. I don't know what to tell you, because Darm I feel like should get a KO versus every single team it plays, even teams with this bold ass Jellicent. Alright, if they have Pikamuku, maybe, but they'll still just U-turn on you and then you're fucked the next time you come in. But yeah, love this Pokemon. I think it's hilarious that they took such a strong Pokemon, put a snowball on its head, and literally made it nearly broken. I guess we'll see in the future what happens with this Mon. But yep, just a little small video for you guys. I'm not trying to make this longer than like 15 minutes. Just want to talk about what I consider to be the best Pokemon, which is truly Darm. Second best Pokemon, probably Dragapult. I'll probably make a video on that thing later on in the week, but for now, just a little small video for you guys to digest after that fire heat up Fajita live. Shout out Ice Cube, worst ice type ever, unlike Darmanitan. But hope y'all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.